So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every week, I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, the FIBA World Cup has been continuing on with a few surprising results that we've seen, and some more intriguing storylines have had updates happen this week, so we definitely have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Keith, and he says that it would actually be a mistake for the Heat to trade for Damian Lillard because the trade would make them worse after how much they would have to give up to get him. So we're now over 2 months into the Damian Lillard saga, where he finally requested a trade, and in doing so made it abundantly clear that the Miami Heat were the only team he wanted to be traded to. For a while, it seemed like every day we were getting new reports emphasizing the fact that he was trying to force his way to Miami, but the Trailblazers front office has held firm on the fact that they do not like the offer that the Miami Heat currently have on the table for him, so no trade has happened because of it. Damian Lillard is one of the best point guards in the entire NBA, and he's still under contract until 2027, so the Blazers have every right to expect a huge trade package in return for someone of his caliber, but that offer has yet to come. Now, going back to the original take at hand here, if the Heat were to unload their max offer in order to get this ordeal over with, would it even be worth it? Obviously, the whole time, everybody has been focusing on how elite of a trio Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo would be. But when you look at the rest of the roster, there would be a ton of holes. The Heat have had success over the last few seasons because of their elite defense, but offensively, their inconsistencies with their shot creation outside of Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero have hurt them, and their overall three-point shooting has been subpar. Acquiring Lillard obviously helps bolster those weaknesses, but when you look at the fact that the Heat would likely have to trade away Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, and maybe Nikola Jovic, along with some draft picks in order to make the money work and actually incentivize the Blazers to say yes to the offer, you get a pretty depleted roster. Kyle Lowry used to be a very good defender, but is pretty over the hill in that regard, and a backcourt of him and Damian Lillard would struggle mightily on defense, and they wouldn't really have anyone besides Josh Richardson coming off the bench that could give them positive minutes. I'm typically under the mindset that top talent wins championships, but I definitely understand why someone would have hesitations regarding making this trade in the first place. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Tom, and he says that Victor Wembanyama has a higher chance of going down the path that Zion Williamson went down than he does of going down the path that LeBron James did. Before we get into anything else, it needs to be said that if you're expecting Victor Wembanyama to be as great as LeBron James, who is arguably the best basketball player to ever step on a court, then your expectations are obviously way too high, and you need to reel them in. With that being said though, we can debate about the overall idea behind this take. Victor Wembanyama has come into the NBA with a ton of hype, and in general, people are expecting him to be a future superstar. As it was referred to in the beginning, Zion Williamson also came into the NBA with an unreal amount of hype around his name, with superstar expectations placed on his shoulders. Zion as a talent was captivating, must-watch TV with his combination of explosiveness, strength, and quickness, but obviously we're 4 years into his career now, and he's barely been able to stay on the court, so of course most fans are disappointed with how things have gone for him so far. Funnily enough though, the concerns about Zion health-wise are the exact opposite reasons for why one would have concerns about Wembanyama's health. Zion entered the NBA as the second heaviest player in the whole league, while Wembanyama's concerns come about because he's incredibly skinny, so his ability to hold up will come down to if he can handle the physicality stability of the NBA. There has to be a middle ground for this discussion though, because I am a lot less concerned about Wembanyama holding up than others seem to be, but I also think people need to be realistic about what Wembanyama will be too. He's not the next coming of LeBron James. He's going to be an elite defensive presence inside who will block a ton of shots and alter game plans with his length, and offensively, he's going to show flashes of being unstoppable, but as a rookie, he'll probably be very inconsistent and not very efficient. I don't think he's a lock to win the Rookie of the Year award either, but that doesn't mean he won't still be exceptional long term. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from User, and he says that the Sixers will blow up their roster by the end of the season. There's no hiding from it, the Philadelphia 76ers had a bad summer. After losing again in the second round of the playoffs, everything continued to go downhill for them as James Harden started a standoff with the team's front office. That situation has gotten incredibly toxic, and the moves that the team has made were minimal, so they didn't really even improve from last season. Joel Embiid is 29 years old, and with his injury history, most people are aware that he needs to maximize every season he has left. With the current state of the Sixers, people have obviously applied that logic to theories that he will request a trade this season. With all of that being said though, I am very confident that it will not come this season for a few reasons. After the way this offseason went, it became pretty clear that there was no realistic path to make a big acquisition, so the team, according to several reports from 76ers beat writers, have shifted its focus to the 2024 offseason. That summer, Tobias Harris's contract expires, freeing up a ton of cap space, and on top of that, the team also held off from giving Tyrese Maxey a contract extension until next summer intentionally to retool the roster around those two, because by then, James Harden will be gone. Joel Embiid is aware of this plan according to those same reports, so in the meantime, the Sixers will play the season out as is. And by the way, despite all of the drama, the Sixers are still a good enough roster to be a top 5 team in the East, so they're not just going to disappear. Now, if the Sixers are unable to sign the impactful players that they're hoping to next summer, that is when a potential blow-up could occur, so a lot is on the line next offseason. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.